Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahushai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahushai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahushai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahushai. First and foremost, all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaChodash. Double honors to head apostles, bishops, elders, a great millstone that rule well, and shalom to you brothers in the highways and byways, doing the work sincerely and faithfully and continually fighting the good fight of faith, Lord willing. We have found that number to be delivered. All right. So I believe I'm going to name this lesson, Who is Oliver North? Who is Oliver North? All right. So let's take a look at who Oliver North is. We'll go here. Let's take a quick look to see who Oliver North is. All right. This is Oliver North here, who ended up becoming the key speaker or the president for the NRA. All right. He also was an individual who was in the 80s, the mid to late 80s, involved in a thing called the Iran-Contra scandal. All right. Now here's some pictures of Oliver North. Right. He was very close to Ronald Reagan in the Reagan administration. I believe it was 88, 89, around that period. And a lot of, brothers who were around at that time can recall this was the only thing that was on TV back at that time. All right. And what they were doing was they figured out a loophole to sell arms and munitions to Iran and getting a major kickback. All right. So all that being said, that's Oliver North. So from there, let me take it to here just to give you a little insight of what that was about and who he was as a young man.
Colonel, we appreciate you coming here, and one of the purposes also is to make this forum available to you to say whatever you want to say at this point.
Mr. Chairman, we appreciate the opening remarks of the chairman and the other congressmen. It should come as no surprise that responsible counsel will advise the colonel to assert his constitutional right not to testify. That is what we have done, and that is what we will continue to do. In that regard, the colonel has a brief statement to make to the committee, and we appreciate the opportunity to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Lieutenant Colonel North.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, and thank you, Mr. Solomon. I am anxious, as I know that you are, to put this matter behind us and to facilitate the important business of protecting the national security interest.
All right, so I'm not going to go too far, but I just want you brothers to hear a little bit of them. And, of course, when you have, Congress meetings or current event meetings, whatever the case may be, it's all bullshit, So I want to get to who he worked for, all right? And this is Ronald Reagan. This is who he worked for. Now, a lot of brothers, you may have seen this clip, and Ronald Reagan's talking about, some foreign beings coming from another, world or dimension, how we'd have to put away all our differences. Well, I want to play this, right? Because when I play it, there's a couple things he says, but I want you to pay close attention to it. All right, so let me play it out.
I couldn't help at one point in my discussions privately with General Secretary Gorbachev, when you stop to think that we're all God's children, wherever we may live in the world, I couldn't help but say to him, just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet outside in the universe. we'd forget all the little local differences that we have.
Now, what's funny is Ronald Reagan, he was an actor back, during the day, right? And through the course of time, he became very, I'm gonna use this term, religious, for lack of a better word, and was always quoting the scriptures, was always quoting the Bible, even so to the point where he had dubbed the Bible the law of the land, and then made a holiday talking about the year of the Bible. All right, but why is that? Let's continue on.
Between our countries, and we would find out once and for all that we really are all human beings here on this earth together. Well, I don't suppose we can wait for some alien race to come down and threaten us, but I think that between us we can bring about that realization. In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bond. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
All right, so you hear what he said? And yet I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? So one would probably say, what does he mean by that? How's he talking about there's an alien force among us? All right. So those are the words of Ronald Reagan. Now, keep in mind now, the topic of discussion is who is Oliver North? So let's go to another quick clip, right? Now, I want to play this clip. In this clip, a gentleman speaking about an event that had taken place during Ronald Reagan's time in office. All right. So I may double back and play Ronald Reagan's clip again, but listen to this dude and listen to what he says. Now, you take it with a grain of salt. And again, I'm not saying that this is gold, but sometimes you got to put some of these little pieces together. All right. But listen to what this man says, in particular, what he says at the end of this video.
A cigar-shaped ship appeared over the Air Force Base. These cigar-shaped ships were over a mile in length. One of them landed on the airport landing strip area. When it touched the ground, it created an earthquake like about a 3.5 to 4.0. It terrified everybody in the area. The back of this craft opened up, and several hundred young men with huge, heavy weapons came out of two sides of the ship and formed a protection line around the ship. And the people at that Air Force base, the commander, had a meeting with the individuals that were aboard this ship, and this particular race that landed those ships and that are seen in these huge cigar-shaped ships, they are a black race. They look like African Americans. They were about 6'4", 6'5". These tight-fitting black leather outfits on, and the weapons that they came out of the ships with, they were huge weapons. And if you've ever seen a race of people that were conquerors, that had never been conquered, they've got this look about them of arrogance. That is exactly what these extraterrestrials had, and they informed these people at this American Air Force base that not only were they from a militaristic society, but they had controlled a large portion of the galaxy that we live in. And this was the statement that Ronald Reagan was making to the United Nations when he said that if all the countries on the planet realized that there was a threat from outer space and from an alien civilization, we would all come together, but he was not allowed to make the statement. What I tell you is true.
All right. So, did you hear what he said at the end of that? This was what Ronald Reagan was talking about when he addressed the Congress or the House or whatever, whoever he was addressing. All right. So now, again, do we take that as gold? No, but it's information that's out there, and it kind of makes sense, because Ronald Reagan said, "What? Aren't we already among them? Aren't they already among us?" So if this man is talking about they look like African American, Ronald Reagan was privy to all this, and then he made that statement talking about aren't they already among us? All right. So going back to Oliver North, right? Going back to Oliver North. Let me do this. Let's find out who Oliver North was. Now, the Iran-Contra affair. This is what this whole thing was about back in the 80s. All right, and I'm going to start here. It says, simply, Iran-Contra was a political scandal in the United States that centered around arms trafficking facilitated by senior officials of the Ronald Reagan administration to Iran between 1981 and 1986. As Iran was subject to an arms embargo at the time of the scandal, the sales of the arms was deemed illegal. The administration hoped to use the proceeds of the arms sales to fund the Contras, an anti-Sandinista rebel group in Nicaragua under the Boland Amendment, further funding the Contras by legislative appropriations was prohibited by Congress, but the Reagan administration figured out a loophole by secretively using non-appropriated funds instead. All right, so that's what in a nutshell what the Iran-Contra scandal was about: selling weapons to Iran secretly, illegally, and getting proceeds from it to do other things. All right. So as we see, Oliver North was that individual that was behind it all. So let's go here. Let's go here. Now, when you go to Wikipedia, it says FEMA camps conspiracy theory. Now, we all understand, we all talk about FEMA. We've been talking about FEMA for years. And FEMA has been that organization, the Federal Emergency Management Association, roughly paraphrasing, has been at the forefront of all disasters, all aid, humanitarian aid relief. All right. But let's get down to the real deal about FEMA. So I'm not going to read all this here, but it just goes into FEMA conspiracy theories and, what people believe in it, what it's actually about, so on and so forth. But we're going to get down to the nitty gritty here. All right. And I'm going to start right here to make it simpler. Start right here where it says conspiracy theorists have used the actual internment of Japanese Americans during World War II and specifically constructed camps as evidence that such a scenario has historic precedent. Proponents have cited a contingency plan, Rex 84, drafted in part by U.S. Marine Colonel Oliver North. All right. Now, we've been making reference to Rex 84 for years. All right. So who was Rex 84 drafted by? In part, Colonel Oliver North. All right. So let's continue. It says, for the suspension of the Constitution and the detainment of citizens in the event of a national crisis. Now, we've all and have always maintained that Esau is gonna have a false flag, some type of national crisis or disaster, right? We've maintained that because this is the MO. There's always something that's gonna happen where they're gonna start shutting shit down or putting the people in fear and so on and so forth. But now, as we come closer to the end of this thing, we now know it makes so much more sense. All right? So let's continue on and finish this out. It says, this was aimed at left-wing activists, not the libertarians and right-wingers generally associated with FEMA theories. It says, this has been linked to a 1970 document by Louis Giuffrida, who in 1981 became the director of FEMA, calling for the establishment of martial law in the event of an uprising by African American militants and internment of millions of African Americans. All right? So the question is, why are they specifically singling out African Americans? Now keep in mind, Oliver North was under the direction of Ronald Reagan. All right? Ronald Reagan had made that statement talking about a race of people that they'd have to come together. All right? And the other, insider guy who talked about the situation that happened at the Air Force Base, he said, what? These people look like African Americans. All right? So it all makes sense, man. At the end of the day, the so-called Negro in America is of the tribe of Judah, right? In which tribe our Lord Yahushua sprang from. And they know that. They know what tribe the Lord come from. But again, this devil Oliver North, right? This devil Oliver North, who, he was the head of the NRA. He has a podcast, he does all types of, speaking in different locations. This cat was public enemy number one for a very long time. But more so now, he was the one of the absolute founders of Rex 84. Rex 84 is an agenda that's going to be set forth in the event of a natural disaster. In all, it's going to round up you so-called Negroes, West Indian, Puerto Ricans, and Native Americans, man. The children of Israel. That's who they're looking to round up. All right? So with Donald Trump in office, they're all just fulfilling their leg of this so-called push for the New World Order. All of them are just filling their part. All right? Let me go back here. Let me get Daddy Bush.
Its founders.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
You see that? All right. So he said when they're ready to establish that new world order, and they will be successful. So all in all, man, this whole thing is about the advancement of Esau Edom that they think they're going to be able to become in the fall of the children of Israel. All right, let's start with Job. Since we left off with that, let's leave off with this. Let's Job 20 and 23. It says, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. All right, and this goes to what he just said. They got a real chance at this new world order, and when they put it in motion, and they will be successful, and he will be, he said. All right? But the Lord has other plans for you devils. All right? You think that you're going to be able to fulfill, and you think that you're going to be successful. But Yahweh Shem Yahushai said through Job, when he's about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him. All right? So your days are numbered, man. Your allotted time is already set. You're not going to be able to do a damn thing, as to fulfilling your so-called enterprise. Right? The Lord is going to let you, get your thing off as far as rounding up Jake, killing Jake, putting Jake in concentration camps, setting up those guillotines, putting those guillotines in place. The Lord's going to let you get away with that. You see? This is Job 20:11. It says, his bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Right? And this is pertaining to your man right here, Ollie North. Let me go back and get a better picture of this devil. Here we go. It's pertaining to this guy, Oliver North. All right? Here he's being reverenced as a great man. This man was doing the unthinkable. Selling weapons to, foreign countries. Getting mixed up in all types of scandals. Now, he's been revered as the top guy. All right? But the sin, his bones are full of the sin of his youth. Because when he was a young man, his whole agenda was what? To kill you so-called, African Americans, man. And any other tribe that was that's involved over here. That was his agenda. So don't think for 1 minute because he has a suit and tie on, he got a movie and there's all kinds of, give him all kinds of credit. And, he got a talk show. This guy is a real devil, man. And he's been set up to be one. Look at this guy. Look at him. Pure sinister, man. And this is around that time. When he came up with Rex 84. And we just read it. Rex 84 is primarily to round up you so-called Negroes, man, and to put you into slavery. That's what they're coming to do. Right? So don't get it twisted, man. This thing is about to get heavy. This thing is about to get real heavy. Let me play this a little bit here. If this is the video one, this might not be it. No, that's not it. But anyway. It says Oliver North was once a key figure in the Iran-Contra scandal. Now he has a new role, NRA president. So this devil, he's done a lot of damage, man. You know what? I do want to find that because he said something in that video. Let me see if I can find it. He said something in the video. Give me a second, bro. Let me just see if I can pull that up wherever it was. Damn. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find it. He said something. No. Yeah, what he said in that video was pretty eye-opening. No, that's not it. That's Charlton Heston. Yeah, I don't know where it was. I don't know what I did with it. But he said something. He said he's been put in place to keep the NRA on schedule. So what schedule is he talking about? All right, now mind you, this is a man who's looking to kill you so-called Negroes over here in America. America ordered all types of ammunition. There's all types of shit going on that you people truly don't understand, man. And nor do you even look to see what's going on. America's like a big crib. What do you do with a crib? You put a baby in the crib so the baby can go to sleep, man. And this is what America's done to you people. America has put you niggas right to sleep. You got no clue what the hell's happening around here. None. Not one iota of a clue what's going on and what you're about to be involved in. I want to find that clip, man. This might be it here. Yeah, I think this is it. Listen to what he says. He wanted to keep him on track, keep him on course or some shit.
Dateline True Crime Weekly. Listen now.
Facing intense criticism in the aftermath of some high-profile shootings, the National Rifle Association is naming a new president with a very familiar name, retired U.S. Marine Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, the man at the center of the Iran-Contra scandal. And while North has many supporters, critics of the NRA say they are baffled by the choice.
How's everybody doing today?
Facing political fallout in the wake of recent shootings, the National Rifle Association shakes up its leadership with a familiar name.
My job is to keep us on schedule.
Oliver North, who appeared at this weekend's annual...
That was the point. My job is to keep us on schedule. And I believe what this schedule he's talking about is preparing them concentration camps. All right? Preparing the graves for you so-called Negroes, West Indian, Latinos, Native Americans. This is the schedule he's talking about with these weapons. That's what I believe. Because why not? He's always been about this. It's in his blood. All right? So don't fall for it, man. Don't get caught out there, in these last days thinking everything's gonna be gravy, man. This shit's about to get crazy out here. And if you ain't prepared and you ain't watching, all right, you're gonna get swept up. So I'm gonna end it with that. Lord willing, I'm gonna see y'all in another one. I'm gonna say shalom.